Yes. This is a review of yesterday's FOMC session. During the day, there was a lovely long opportunity. I made a video about it. But I also, since I'm relatively new to FOMC, I'm also registering this to get more or less a playbook ready for next FOMCs. So what I did is I mark out levels which are key that FOMC volatility can possibly run. And if you look at the 4-hour chart, then it's obvious that liquidity mostly is available on the downside of where price currently is. So what I do is I mark out all the higher time frame levels. So which are higher time frame levels for me? Those are 4-hour levels and 4-hour gaps, and daily levels and daily gaps. So I already prepared that in the morning, which I showed you here, and there of course are some divergences. For example, the daily gap on NQ is smaller than on ES, and there's also an additional 4-hour gap over here. So I just mark out all these levels, and then I decided to watch price. So in yesterday's video I already said, okay, we have a 4-hour balanced price range here, which is currently holding price down. If I'll mark it in blue, if that one breaks, then we can have this is the one for ES. If this one breaks, we can have a bullish bias again, we'll get new all-time highs, etc, etc. So let's zoom in a little bit. And I was watching this on the 5 minutes because just crazy volatility altogether. Already when price opened, there was high volatility, and I'll just press play. And I think, yeah, so I was watching. I think this did not give any proper setup, because what it was actually doing is, even though it took out this low, so I was watching price and I wanted to see a proper setup. So I first go to the 1 minute, and if the 1 minute or the 2 or the 3 or the 4, if it gives a proper gap, then I'm interested in it. So in itself there was a reasonable gap, but I was not really convinced that this was the low. Let's just delete this for clarity. I wasn't convinced yet that this was the low, because we already took out the low in the morning. So yes, this was London low, but this was still a large gap, and price was still being bearish. This was a solid sell-off. Then you have this bounce into OTE, retest of this, OB, I think. I don't trade OB, so I don't really care, but this was just the potential for a lot of chop, especially also to see that ES was actually looking for these levels. So ES was not there yet, and ES did not give any proper levels, and there was this level. It broke to the upside, but I did not take it because for some reason the context was not clear to me, and when price starts chopping within such a level, then it loses relevance for me. So here it was possible to see like a retest of the bullish gap, but then you had this price action and I thought, okay, no. So if price is going to do something, it's going to go down. It's just consolidating for a bit, and then just move down, which it in the end it did. So I did not trade anything here. And price was just moving down, and we were slowly closing in on the FOMC, and price was just grinding down. And my idea was, okay, every move up is a potential sell. So let's just move to the 5 because this goes faster. Okay, so we're now closing in on the 2-hour mark, and I'll just pause it here. So from this moment on I was reviewing, okay, so if I go back to the 15 minutes, what is price actually showing me? So we completely filled this bearish gap. I don't think we closed below, because I think the close was at 2 o'clock, so we're in this 4-hour candle breaking below this level. We actually took out this level and the first 4-hour level, if I'm not mistaken. So what you see is that price is going to move up. But here I'm not going to take any trades because this is very close to the FOMC interest rate note, which was at 2 o'clock. And then of course, if price wants to go down, it needs to go up first. And I have no experience with the volatility that might occur. So I was just watching. And what you can already see is that price spiked up, spiked down. So it pierced into this H4 balanced price range and went down. So for now, I'm just watching because I have no idea what price ultimately wants to do. So we got a 25 BPS cut, which was according to plan. So overall, the current market, even though it was already priced in, the current market is reacting very bullishly to good news, which is just the market's, the current market dynamics. So from here on, seeing the 25% and this move down, I was thinking, okay, longs make sense, but we first need to take some levels before we can move up again. So I was just watching, and I think here there was a really good short opportunity. I wasn't even paper trading it, I was just watching it. So we have this 2-hour spike, this 2-hour candle. And normally if you trade data wicks, like red folder news, this is ideal. So you get the spike, price takes out the high or the low, depending on the news. And then it created a 1-minute gap. So here we have it for, actually it's more or less like, if you are very strict, then it's this. And NQ was just super clean. A nice gap. It is 10 points, which I think for this move is reasonable. It breaks down, it retests, and it just sells off. So normally you would just trade the low. And you could see this as the low, but this would be a good trade already. And this would set you up for, I think, a 2R. Retest, probably your stop slightly above. And then trade it up to here. So this is already 2.8. You could leave a runner, but this is all just, this is all hindsight magic. But I wasn't really aware of the fact that, of course, you can also just trade the interest rate statement as a news thing, just you can do it with red folder news. So I was watching, this price went violently up, but I was still thinking it's just too obvious that price immediately spikes when it's already priced in. So we first need to get some liquidity. When I go to the 5 minutes, price was just chopping about, right? And when I see price chopping about like this, then for me, I have no business whatsoever interacting with price. And at this point in time, ES was being more bearish than NQ, which I think makes a bit sense because the move up was also more violent. So then you might expect that the move down is also more violent. So at this point in time, I'm just watching price go, and to be honest, many key levels are being taken. And at this point, I also don't know if an SMT is relevant whatsoever, because all these levels that these lines were based upon also were caused by divergences. So the only thing I was looking now was price on the lower time frame. So taking into account that now I think 2:30 Powell was speaking, I had the live session on, and price was just doing its thing. And I think I saw a video once of Justin Werling, who mentioned if you want to trade FOMC, wait at least 15 to 20 minutes when Powell is speaking, because only after that you'll get the best likelihood for high probability trades. So at that point in time, I was thinking, okay, we took out so many levels, but I want to see good price action. I want to see clean levels. And when I mean clean levels, I want to see something that speaks to me. And what I normally do is then, in this sense, seeing the volatility, it would make sense not to trade the 5 minutes. Because as you could see, the 5 minutes doesn't really give gaps. In fact, this is the only gap there was, and it was already broken to the upside. So the 5 minute didn't give any gaps. I don't go to the 30 seconds, but I go to the 1 minute, and then I double check with the 2 minutes to see if there's anything there. But as you can see, the 2 minute, also no gaps whatsoever, only here, which makes no sense, because then you don't know if the setup will continue. So by this time I saw, okay, this 4 hour level is taken, this one was barely taken, but here we are through the daily, deep into a H4, we hit multiple daily levels. So I thought, okay, I think it should be reasonable to expect some kind of bounce. And I marked out, so this gave me not a lot of clarity because there are multiple gaps here. But this NQ I really liked. Why? Because there is a clean 1 hour, 1 minute gap. The size is decent, like 22 points, and I take into account the entire move. But what I also do is I see if there is any interaction with this current displacement, because here price did not really displace. Okay, there's this tiny gap, but it did not do much. But here we got a good displacement through the level, and I pull the gap to the left, and if there is like decent support or decent interaction with the size of that gap, it adds to my confluence. So I could more or less see it as support, manipulation, and then I want to see a clear break of this level and then trade it up. So at this point, I already tested. I could not place any orders, but I found out, as you can see still, I have September contracts on. Apex already disabled September contracts, or trade of 8. I don't know, it's not relevant. I did not check. I should have just had either the December contracts on, or I should have had MNQ 1 exclamation mark on, which just automatically updates to the latest contract. So this was very, very stupid on my side, because it's not that I don't have a rule to trade during high impact news or speeches, whatever, but my opinion in general is, if there is a setup that is so good, like A+, whatever, then there is no reason not to take the trade. And this was such a situation. So I marked out, I said, okay, what do I want to see? I want to see a clear break of this 1 minute level. Ideally, I want to see the wick get taken. I wasn't yet sure about my stop loss, maybe in below, but I was thinking, okay, depending on the move of this candle, I might move my stop loss. The first interesting target is this one. And then I was thinking, okay, this is just generated liquidity. This could be one level. And in the end, this is perfect. And maybe leave a runner for whatever. So I was watching, and the next candle was really good. It took out the wick. It closed above the gap. So here ES was still trying. And now I was thinking, okay, do I go for the retest, or do I, because price can move, if this indeed is a reversal, then price can move violently. So I go 2 ticks up, and let's see, I think I got an entry. Yeah, so it wicked into that gap precisely. And what I see for my trade journal is that the best RR you get is when you trade the retest of that fair value gap that you want to trade. So there's no necessity to market buy when the candle has closed above that level. You can just wait for the retest. But you want to see an immediate reaction in the next 1 or 2 candles to retest that level. If it takes too long and if price would have already hit this level, I would have pulled my order. And I think 1 or 2 days ago that happened, because then price already did what it had to do, and then there's no need for me to assume that the retest is a bullish retest in this situation. So price just went up like crazy. So this would have been, yeah, I would have put the stop here below this wick. This would have been a 2.1 trade, with 2.2 almost, which is just wonderful within minutes. And price just rallied up like crazy. It's just, there's no stopping, just stalling a little bit. And this would have definitely been my ultimate target, the high here, and I would have gone lower. But potentially, if I see how I would trade, if I can leave a runner, because I think I would only leave 1 or 2 contracts open, if I get a 5 hour out of it in such a short time in one violent move, I'm happy. I go out, I'm not going to pretend that I would hold this entire thing with my full size. Potentially I would move out with, I think, 3/4 of my contracts here, and then maybe scale out 1 again and 1 more here. Because for me, it's wonderful when price is doing its thing and it's moving so fast, but time is also very important to me. So when price moves fast, I would love to just see a quick profit in a short amount of time, because then I'm in and out of the trade. And this is such a wonderful example. And also because I trade prop firm, right? So Apex has live drawdown, so I don't want to be high up in my capital and then see like half of it being decimated again, because that eats away the drawdown that I have left. So I'm also incentivized by Apex to have multiple exits in a certain move to minimize my live drawdown impact. Beautiful trade. And then afterwards I think it started chopping for the rest of the day. But this was it, just wonderful.